Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a wild, true story. It's about a president's strange request, a flight that should never have been taken, and a plane crash so bizarre it almost seems like it was planned.
All right, let's just drop right into the chaos. Imagine you're on a plane, and it's literally falling out of the sky. It hits the ground and just plows through the earth for hundreds of yards before screeching to a halt, the nose and the tail completely torn off. It's a miracle anyone survived. But to understand how our narrator even got on this flight, we've got to rewind.
So our story really kicks off with a phone call back in July of 1981. The narrator, who's an official at the famous Tirumala temple, gets word that the president of India, Neelam Sanjiva Reddy, has, well, a very, very unusual plan.
And this is where the whole problem begins. See, a normal presidential visit is a huge deal, sure, but it's manageable. It's 1, maybe 2 days. But President Reddy? No, he wanted something totally different. He wanted to stay for 10 to 15 days, and not as the head of state, but as just an ordinary pilgrim. The temple administration knew right away this wasn't just difficult, it was a Herculean task, a logistical nightmare.
I mean, just think about it for a second. This isn't just about finding a couple of rooms. It's reserving a whole block of cottages for 2 solid weeks, kicking out regular folks who'd been waiting for their chance to visit. It meant round-the-clock massive security. And here's the kicker. Every time the president decided he wanted to go to the temple, they'd have to stop the darshan, the viewing of the deity, for thousands of other pilgrims. It was going to cause a huge amount of hardship.
So the narrator, he tries everything. He explains all these problems to the president's chief secretary, but it's no good. The president was completely insistent. He wanted to worship as a simple man, and that was that. With absolutely no other options left, the narrator gets a direct and very urgent order.
The chief secretary's message was blunt. The only shot they had was a face-to-face meeting. So our narrator literally has to rush to the airport to grab the only flight to Hyderabad that afternoon. The whole mission? Get in a room with the president of India and somehow, someway, convince him to change his mind.
So he gets on board this Avro aircraft with 28 other people, including the cultural affairs minister. And for every single one of them, it's just another flight on another Tuesday. You know, just a way to get from point A to point B. They had no idea what was coming.
And this is where the mission takes a sudden and absolutely terrifying turn. The plane is flying between these 2 mountain ranges when, out of nowhere, it gets hit by these incredibly powerful, violent winds.
The plane gets slammed by these high-velocity gales, and the pilots, they just completely lose control. The aircraft is thrown way off course, its tail just kicking up like a bucking horse.
Inside the cabin, it's total panic. The plane isn't nosediving, which is maybe the weirdest part. It's gliding sideways through the sky. The narrator says people were just clinging to their seats like lizards, trying to hold on for dear life as their whole world turned upside down.
And then, impact. A massive, loud thud as the plane hits something hard. But it doesn't stop. The terrifying motion just keeps going, skidding and swerving across the ground.
And then, nothing. Just as suddenly as it all started, it stopped. The shaking, the noise, the terror, all of it gone. Replaced by this absolute, eerie, unbelievable silence. The plane was at a complete standstill. Completely dazed, the narrator somehow unbuckles his seatbelt. They have to kick a jammed door open, and they just stumble out into a torrential downpour. And the sight, it's just surreal. The nose of the plane, gone. The tail, ripped off. Propellers are scattered everywhere. They had crash-landed, and somehow, they were all alive.
So a later inquiry revealed this chain of events that are so improbable, you can really only call them miracles. Get this, the plane glided instead of nosediving. The rain had made the soil so soft it acted like a cushion. It missed huge boulders by just a few feet. It avoided a deep patch of water by maybe 20 feet. It stopped just yards from high-tension power lines. Oh, and that heavy rain? It put out a fire that had started in the engine, which would have absolutely caused a massive explosion.
Okay, so surviving the crash is one thing, but this is where the story takes its final and, honestly, its strangest turn. The aftermath is something else entirely.
Here it is. This is the most stunning fact of the whole story. The official report confirmed that all 29 passengers escaped unscathed, with none shedding even a drop of blood. I mean, can you believe that? The pilot had a minor concussion and one person had slightly hurt fingers, but that's it. Everyone else was perfectly, completely fine.
The official inquiry was so baffled by what happened that it literally said the whole thing was like something out of a movie script. The report noted that if that plane had hit the boulders or the power lines, or if it had somersaulted, nobody, not a single person, would have survived. But it didn't. And here it is, the final twist. After the president hears about this miraculous escape, he personally calls our narrator to see if he's okay. And then, in that same conversation, he quietly says that he no longer felt like spending a fortnight on the hills. The trip was off. The plane crash did what no amount of negotiating ever could.
But the official Indian Airlines report, it left everyone with this one final chilling thought. It went beyond just a technical analysis. The report actually says it appears as if someone by design had arranged the crash landing. Which power did it, and why?
So, that's the question we're left with, isn't it? Was this whole thing just a jinxed plane and an unbelievable string of good luck that saved 29 lives? Or, as the official report itself dared to ask, was it something more? A crash that solved an impossible problem without harming a single person? Coincidence or something else entirely?